Everyone wants better habits, but almost nobody understands how habits actually form. People want shortcuts. They want motivation. They want to believe there's a magic switch that flips in their brain after 21 days. And suddenly they're a different person. That idea has probably done more damage to people than laziness ever did, because it creates false expectations. When the change doesn't happen on schedule, they assume something is wrong with them and quit. The truth is simple and uncomfortable. There is no magic number. There never was. Habits don't form because time passes. They form because actions repeat. When researchers actually tracked habit formation properly, they found huge variation. Some habits stick quickly, some take months, some take nearly a year. When you average it out, you land around 2 months, roughly 60 to 70 days. Not because day 66 is special, but because that's how long it usually takes before repetition creates automatic behavior. A habit is not motivation. A habit is not discipline. A habit is automation. It's when your brain no longer debates whether to act, it just acts. Brushing your teeth doesn't feel impressive because it's hard. It feels easy because it's automatic. That's the goal. And here's the part people don't like hearing. Before a behavior becomes automatic, it feels bad. It feels awkward. It feels forced. It feels unnatural. Most people interpret that discomfort as a sign they're doing something wrong. In reality, it's proof they're early. Every habit begins with resistance, not physical resistance, mental resistance. Your brain prefers certainty over improvement. It would rather repeat what it knows than invest energy in something new. That's why the first gym sessions feel heavy. That's why reading feels harder than scrolling. That's why starting feels worse than continuing. In the early phase, there is no momentum. You are carving a groove from nothing. Think of dragging a stick across concrete. The first pass barely leaves a mark. Do it once, and it disappears. Do it repeatedly, and eventually you've carved a channel the stick naturally falls into. That channel is a habit. Miss one day, and it's fine. Miss several days, and the groove fills in. Resistance comes back. That's not failure. That's physics. This is where willpower comes in, and this is where most people misunderstand themselves. They think they lack discipline. They don't. They're just misusing willpower. Willpower is not infinite. It's a battery. When it's full, you can force yourself through discomfort. When it's empty, even simple things feel heavy. In the morning, after rest, the battery is closer to full. At night, after stress, decisions, and life, it's drained. That's why people swear they'll start tomorrow morning specifically. They're not lazy, they're depleted. The mistake is trying to install new habits when the battery is empty. That's like trying to push a car uphill with no fuel. You're not weak, you're just mistiming the effort. There is a specific phase in habit formation that decides everything. The commitment window. This is the period before the habit becomes automatic. During this window, willpower is required constantly. This is where people either win or quit. They expect things to feel easier quickly. When it doesn't, they assume something is broken. Nothing is broken. This phase is supposed to feel hard. The goal here is not enjoyment. The goal is reps. If you can survive the commitment window long enough, something shifts. The habit stops asking permission. You stop negotiating with yourself. And once that happens, life gets easier. Not because you became stronger, but because you removed friction. Timing matters more than motivation. Use high willpower time for new habits. Use low willpower time for existing habits. New behaviors demand energy. Old habits don't. Trying to start a new routine late at night is self-sabotage. Morning is when the battery is fullest. That's when you install behaviors. Night is for autopilot, not negotiation. This isn't inspirational, it's mechanical. One of the fastest ways to reduce resistance is habit stacking. Instead of starting from zero, you attach a new behavior to an existing one. Your brain already trusts the old routine. It doesn't resist it. You borrow its momentum. If going to the gym is automatic, attach reading before it. Book opens before shoes go on. If brushing your teeth is automatic, stretch afterward. If breakfast is automatic, drink water before it. The old habit becomes the cue. You're not creating a new path. You're extending an existing one. People hate starting small because it sounds unimpressive. One push-up, 10 minutes, a single page. But small isn't about effort. It's about continuity. One push-up proves you're someone who doesn't skip. 10 minutes proves consistency. You don't need intensity to build habits. You need repetition. Big results come from boring reps done long enough to compound. When I explained this to my kids, they understood it immediately. Grooves, batteries, stacking. Kids grasp systems faster than adults because they don't carry guilt and unrealistic expectations. Adults fail at habits not because they're incapable, but because they expect ease too early. The real goal of habit building isn't self-control, it's freedom. Every habit that runs on autopilot frees mental energy. That energy compounds. You stop fighting yourself, you stop negotiating, you stop relying on motivation. Life gets quieter. And that's when people start winning. Not because they're stronger, but because they stopped wasting energy. Now here's why habits actually matter in real life, not in theory. Because if you're not deliberately forming good habits, you are unconsciously forming bad ones. There is no neutral state. Your brain is always learning, always wiring, always reinforcing something. Procrastination is the clearest example. Nobody wakes up and decides to become a procrastinator. It starts small. You put off one homework task. You delay one assignment. You tell yourself you'll do it later. Then later becomes normal. Then last minute becomes standard. Then pressure becomes the trigger for action. Eventually, your brain learns that urgency is required before you move. That's not how you work best. That's how you trained yourself to work. Cramming the night before exams, rushing assignments minutes before the deadline, telling yourself you need stress to perform. Those aren't traits. They're habits you repeated into existence. The same thing happens after work or school. You come home tired and tell yourself you'll just chill for a bit. You sit down, you scroll, you watch random videos, you drift. 1 hour disappears, then 2. Nothing meaningful happens, yet you feel exhausted anyway. Do this often enough, and your brain links coming home with shutting down completely. Not intentional rest, not recovery, just disengagement. Then people wonder why they have no energy to read, study, train, or plan at night. They think they lack discipline. In reality, they built a habit that kills momentum the moment they walk through the door. Complaining works the same way. At first, it feels harmless. You vent about school, work, traffic, people. But repetition matters. If most of your conversations revolve around what's wrong, your brain becomes extremely good at spotting problems and terrible at building solutions. Complaining becomes your default language. Negativity becomes familiar. Preparation starts to feel unnatural. Arguing is another silent one. Always needing the last word. Getting pulled into pointless debates. Reacting emotionally to comments online. Focusing attention on proving someone wrong instead of improving your own situation. It feels active, but it's unproductive. You burn mental energy on things that don't move your life forward. That becomes a habit too. And the dangerous part is none of this feels like training. It feels like life. But repetition doesn't care about your intentions. It only cares about frequency. The good news is the same mechanism works in your favor if you use it deliberately. Instead of coming home and collapsing, you build a habit of transition. A small action that tells your brain the day isn't over yet. Sitting down for 5 minutes and reviewing tomorrow's to-do list. Writing out the 3 most important things for the next day. Laying out clothes, packing a bag, opening a book before touching your phone. These actions feel insignificant. They aren't. When repeated, they rewire what coming home means. Home becomes the place where preparation starts, not where momentum dies. Preparation is one of the most powerful habits you can build. Not because it looks impressive, but because it removes friction. When you decide tomorrow today, you stop waking up reactive. You stop scrambling. You stop wasting mental energy deciding what to do next when you're already tired. Most stress doesn't come from workload. It comes from uncertainty. Preparation kills uncertainty before it grows. Focus works the same way. Focus isn't a personality trait. It's a habit. If you constantly allow interruptions, distractions, and reactive behavior, your brain adapts. Then when you try to focus, it feels painful. Not because you can't focus, but because you trained yourself not to. Your life right now is largely the result of habits you didn't consciously choose. How you start your mornings, how you end your days, how you respond under stress. None of it is fixed, but none of it changes without repetition either. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your habits. That's not a motivational quote. It's a mechanical reality. Habits matter because once they're installed, they stop asking permission. And the habits you repeat today quietly decide how hard or easy your life feels tomorrow. That's how real change actually happens.